Hey guys, this is Doug from fellowshipofthemartyrs.com. We're here in beautiful Liberty, Missouri, enjoying the day at William Jewell College up here on the hill, kind of overlooking the city. And there's Elizabeth. And that was Jewell Hall. This is the library. And down here, hard to see right now, you look out over the hill through the trees, you can see downtown Kansas City. Anyway, here's a tree. I want to talk to you about trees and about predestination and free will. And I'm going to try and do it in as childlike a way as possible because the Bible said that those are the ones that are going to inherit the kingdom of God. So let's talk a little bit about this tree for a minute. I want to talk a little bit about the sovereignty of God. I want to talk a little bit about predestination and free will. Now, to substantially simplify things, imagine in this tree, you're a little worm, little inchworm, and we start you off at the bottom of the tree, and you start working your way up. And we tell you just go as far as you can up the tree. Now, predestination says we know how far the inchworm is going to get before he falls off one of these limbs. And he might walk a little bit and fall off one over here, or he might walk all the way up the really tall ones up at the top. But predestination says God knows the end from the beginning, so he knows all the choices you're going to make and which branch you're going to fall off of at the end, where you're going to end, the destination point for your journey. Okay, that's not a big enough God. A future-telling, soothsaying God is not a big enough God. Jeremiah says, I know the plans I have for you, plans for good and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Okay, this is the tree of your life that he designed for you. And it has all these possible variables. As you're inching your way up, right here, you decide to go that way. And you get drunk and die in a drunk driving accident when you're 14. And right there, bam, it's over. You fall off the branch. Or maybe you go up a little bit farther, get a girl pregnant, ruin your witness, ruin your ministry, can't be effective, whatever. He would have liked you to stay on the main trunk, on the narrow path, and gone as far as you possibly could. You would think, wouldn't you? Now, predestination basically says, you're a little meat puppet, you're a little inchworm, you don't have really any choices, he knows exactly where you're going to end. Free will says, this is all sort of just you doing whatever, and yeah, he's calling to you, and yeah, he wants you to end up at a certain branch, but you're pretty much going to do whatever you want. Well, I think they're sort of both right, and they're sort of neither right. Because in order for him to know the plans he has for you, plans for good and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope, he has to know all the available plans, all the possibilities, pick from them, determine which is the best possible one for you, and then try to get you to go that direction. Now, by trying to get you to go that direction, I mean that he's going to call you, he's going to whisper to you, and sometimes he may tweak things to where you don't have a choice. Doesn't that violate free will? Well, that's the whole paradox. That's the whole conundrum here. Because on the one hand, it looks like you're predestined. On the one hand, it looks like you have free will. And on the other hand, it's just part of the thing. Now, it's a whole bunch of if-then statements. Like if you were programming in BASIC. And as that little inchworm gets to a fork in the road, it has to decide, A or B. Which way do I go? Okay, now, but if he goes this way, let's say that little inchworm comes over here and he's working his way out this branch. And this isn't really the branch the Lord wanted him on ideally, but he's on this branch and he's coming to a shorter conclusion than where the Lord wanted him. Now, did he have free will to get on this branch? It kind of looks like he did, because this isn't really going well. There's Deuteronomy 28 curses on his head. He's not obeying God, and yet God is merciful, wants that none should be lost, doesn't want to violate free will, but is still going to tweak his life so that somehow he can call him back. So maybe he did have free will to get on this branch, and he's here and he's inching along this little branch, and God takes this branch and touches it to that branch. And all of a sudden this little inchworm, he gets off of this branch and he thinks he has free will, but he's really going back toward the trunk all of a sudden, and he didn't know he was doing it. And maybe he gets to this fork right here and he starts going the wrong direction again. And God bends that branch. Now, how could God bend that branch so that he could get back on track? Well, it doesn't take much. If you're driving to work one morning and you're rebelling against God, you're in the wrong marriage, you're in the wrong job, you're in the wrong city, everything's wrong about what you're doing, all the Lord has to do is have a butterfly land in the middle of your windshield, obscure your vision, a truck hits you, bam, you're in a wheelchair, you got to go back, live with your parents, and start over. Lose your marriage, lose your house. I mean, it doesn't take much for him to tweak a circumstance a certain way if he wants to get you back on track. Now, if you hear God, if you are led by the Spirit at all, you understand what I'm saying. You understand how he can tweak you. And you feel like you have free will, but then all of a sudden you just end up where he wanted you and you don't know how you got there, and he did it and you know he did it. And it might even irritate you that you feel like you don't have a choice. And yet, he knows the plans he has for you, plans for good and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Do you understand that a predestination God that simply knows the destination from before the journey starts is not nearly as sovereign, nearly as complicated, nearly as great, nearly as deserving of glory and honor as a God that knows all of the possible destinations for your life, has thought it all through, has intersected your tree with everybody else's tree, with the butterfly's tree, with the rain, with the hurricane, with all the other variables in your life that had to come together to weave just a certain way, designed the whole thing, wove everybody together, and then picked which was the best possible destination for you in all of the possible destinations there could be for you. That is a really big, really complicated God. He worked it all out, saw every tree of every person before creation ever started. How long that took, I have no idea. He has a really big hard drive. Designed it all out, every atom, every meteor, every comet, every new invention of man, everything. Put everybody in place in history where they needed to be, intersecting with everybody else's trees, pick the best possible plan for you, and then set it into motion. That's a really big God. And that's way bigger than some crystal ball, soothsayer, I know the end from the beginning God. I don't know when exactly I began to understand this. I think it was around 8th grade. Some beautiful, sweet Sunday school teacher who was a computer guy explained it to me in terms of a decision tree. That we make all of these decisions, and God knows all the possible decisions, picks from them the best possible outcome for you based on his will, what brings him glory, and how it intersects with everybody else. And then asks us to obey him to end up at that point. Now there may be places near there that are almost just as good. 0.001, that branch is just as good as that branch. But you're not quite as happy, not quite as satisfied with that spouse, whatever. Live 3 days longer, but within his permissive will, either one is okay. But he is going to do what he can, when he can, to twist a branch that we're on that we're not supposed to be, to twist it back over here in some creative way, so that we'll get back where we were supposed to be. And that is so beautiful, and that is such mercy, and he is so deserving of honor and glory and praise, because he didn't just set it into motion like a watchmaker and it's all worked out. We have choices, and yet he tweaks our choices. We have free will, and yet we don't. We believe that we do, and we can love him. We're not robots. and yet he's fully sovereign. I pray that you can get this. I pray that it will make some sense to you. I can't possibly do justice to explaining this. I can't possibly, and I don't even believe this is the fullness of what he does and what he does say. But it's the best I can do. And I pray that he'll explain it to you his way, in a way that only he can explain it to you. So that you will let him out of the box, the Arminianism, the Calvinism box that you put him in. And let him be God, and let him be creative, and let him be fluid, and let him adjust things on the fly as he wants. And submit to his will. And seek the best possible choice, the best possible plan for your life according to what he wants. And see that when he calls and he says, come out here on this branch, this is where I want you. It may not look good. There's some under here that are dead. There's no leaves, there's nothing. And they end real early. But this may be the place that brings him the most glory, because you die a martyr in China spreading the gospel. And yet he could have lived to 80 and had a successful job and a career and family and grandkids and whatever. But somehow he's always going to pull you back to this branch or one like it. Because this is where he needs you and this is what he has for you. Whatever brings him the most glory is what we should strive for. Not whatever makes us the happiest, not whatever gratifies us the most. That's just humanism. It's not for us to know the fullness of the possibilities and where we should end up according to what we would like or what the world would like. It's for us to listen and obey. And if you say, yes, Lord, I'm willing to go be a martyr. Yes, Lord, I'm willing to die. Yes, Lord, I'm willing to have men hate me and lie about me and revile me. And it looks like a dead end. He may just twist it around. I just wanted to know if you were willing to walk out on this branch. His ways are not our ways. He is bigger and more complicated than you or I can ever imagine. Whatever box you put him in, let him out and let him be God. And let him explain his ways to you. Thanks for listening. More on this at fellowshipofthemartyrs.com.